Hello and welcome to the Temple of Tomes with your host, Indie Comics Jones. Today is August 20th, 2021. This is episode 394. Resilient is the comic we're looking at today. This is coming out from Absolute Comics Group. It's number one issue in the series or arc. It comes in at a whopping $4.99 for 24 pages, so it is a little bit pricey. It is printed up on nice paper, though, so I'll give it that much. On the cover, we've got kind of the whole cast here. This scene doesn't happen, of course, but it's a depiction of some of the characters in here. Now, I have read a couple comics by Absolute Comics Group before. Mainly, I think I've read White Widow and a couple I Make Boys Cry, and both of those were pretty entertaining. This one was a struggle, and we'll get into that a little bit later. I was hoping for more of this judo chopping sexy woman, and it was more of this version 2. Oddly enough, we'll get into it a little bit here. Let's talk about who worked on the book. It was written and created by George Michael. Art is by Vince L. Tabanas. The letters are by Ed Dukeshire. And edits were by Benny Powell and Jenna Powell. And anyway, this is our main character, Yolanda. And we've got a now here. So we've got this back and forth, and it was a real struggle to read this because sometimes it wasn't noted what time was occurring, and so that made it a little confusing. But it bounces around. I think it's trying to give like you a Pulp Fiction type feel to it. Also, the art in here is really dark. I always felt like I'm reading this in a very dimly lit room. So it wasn't a pleasurable experience not playing. It was hard to make out things within this comic. Found a couple typos in it as well. Nothing really humongous, but they were kind of annoying because I had to go back and read it a couple times to make it make sense, figure out what was wrong. So anyway, we got the story. Here's Yolanda. She's got robot arms, and that's what she's got right now. This is a not recommend, unfortunately. I was thinking about picking up the second issue to see if it would make this first one more coherent, but I'm reading so many comics right now and I'm so far behind, I probably will not do so. But I was really pulling for this one. I really like this cover. I thought that cover was really awesome. So we've got Yolanda, and I'm assuming she's in Mexico here, one of the cartel leaders. I had to go back and forth to try to figure out what was going on. She's getting beat up by some guy, and I think that might be, I can't remember if it was Hector or somebody else like that. And she gets her two bionic arms or prosthetic arms taken off of her. So I'm not sure if these are her fellow judo guys or this was the guys that the cartel was using. It's just kind of unclear. Then we go back to a year ago, and she's with her motorcycle gang buddy. I think he's one of the Mayans, and I have no idea where they are. They're just kind of getting in this Corvette, driving around. They're talking about not being able to have a baby. There's a lot of stories that kind of start, but they don't fill in, or they just kind of start in the middle, and so you don't know what's going on. And maybe they'll fill it in the second issue. I don't know, but it has been kind of a tough read, and you can see the darkness in this, how dark everything is, and what's going on, and it's hard to tell the faces, who is who as well. That made it a little difficult. So that was a year ago. Then we go to 3 days ago. Totally different people in this group here. We don't know. It's not really explained who this woman is, but she's videotaped a crime. And then we go to 6 months ago with this whole urinal scene that in a men's restroom that doesn't make any sense. I guess maybe he's not part of the Mayans. This guy is part of the Mayans. He's just some schlub, former military, can't make a baby, with Yolanda, and his name's Colm, I believe. And look how dark this is. I mean, I don't know what I'm looking at there. I guess it's their house in the suburbs. So they talk about, like, let's take some time away. Let's go to Cambodia and remove mines. What better way to have a holiday than to go to Cambodia? But they agree both that it's really good. So she goes to her judo sensei and tells him that she can't teach class because she needs a couple of weeks off. So he grants her that. In the meantime, this is what doesn't make sense, because this was 3 months ago, but this is 6 months ago. But there's no indication that there's been a change in time, that they actually have gone back. And so there's this ruckus, and there's all these people in this hotel room. I don't know who they are. They appear to be friends of the woman that took the video. I'm not quite sure, but she escapes. There's a couple women up here yelling at the two guys. And then we're back in Cambodia, but there's no like time thing. And I think this is supposed to be 6 months ago. And they are having a fun date removing mines. And then we cut back to now. I'm assuming this is now. Actually, I'm not sure. 3 days ago or now, I'm not sure. 3 days ago, I guess. Or 2 days ago. I don't know. And so the cartel guy, oh, this is Miguel. Okay, so this guy in the front here that she's fighting is Miguel. And Hector is the cartel leader. And he stabs this guy for letting his, I believe it's his son, get in trouble. He kills somebody he was not supposed to kill, I guess. So he gets the axe because of the bad decisions made by his own son. Meantime, Yolanda trips over a log they're clearing, and she falls on a mine and loses both arms. It took me a while to figure out what this was, because you see an arm here, and then it's like, oh, well, did she lose both of them? I'm not sure how she lost both, but that's what happened. She seems okay other than that. So here's what we got going on for the next issue of Resilient. I don't know if this is the cover or if this is the cover. Looks like a totally different artist is working on. If this is an interior, I'm just not sure. So I'm sorry I can't give you any more indication on that. Absolute Comics Group has been looks like they're doing a pretty good job on their comic. This one is just movie confusing. I found a lot of fault in the pacing and the timelines and the lack of direction and the stories that kind of start in the middle, or some stories that don't go anywhere or explain anything. I guess there's supposed to be character building, but it seems like it just falls short, unfortunately. So I can't recommend it. Here's some other things from Absolute Comics Group. I don't recognize too much of this stuff except for I Make Boys Cry. I believe that's what this one is. And a White Widow. These other ones I don't believe I've ever seen before, so they might be good. It seems like they're kind of a Zenescope type look to their books a little bit, but with original stories. They're not based on fairy tale characters that are amped up to 10s. Okay, so it's not a recommend. I can't give it the seal of approval, the good excavating seal of approval that's given out only by Indie Comics Jones. Not this time, but hopefully the next review will be. So thanks for stopping by and listening to this review. By the way, I did see Suicide Squad 2 last night. It wasn't the greatest movie, but it was fun. It's got some holes, a little bit patchy. The middle part, I think you've heard this, is a little bit slow, but the ending's great, the beginning's great, and I think it was worth the $10 I spent for a movie ticket. Very enjoyable, and 2 hours went by before I knew it, so very good in that aspect. So you get a little Suicide Squad 2 review in here as well. So thanks for stopping by and listening to this review. As always, please like, please subscribe if you haven't. Please leave comments if you wish, and we'll see you next time at the Temple of Tomes. As always, this is Indie Comics Jones from the Temple of Tomes bidding you adieu.